Ever wonder how a vast, sun-scorched desert became one of the most critical battlegrounds of World War II? For nearly 3 years, the sands of North Africa witnessed a dramatic seesaw conflict that would shape the very course of the war. Today, we're diving deep into the timeline of the North African campaign, a story of legendary commanders, revolutionary tactics, and unimaginable hardship. So buckle up, because this is a wild ride through history. Our story begins in June 1940. Italy, under Mussolini, has just declared war on the Allies. From their colony in Libya, Italian forces looked east towards British-controlled Egypt and the all-important Suez Canal. The canal was Britain's lifeline to its empire in the east, India, Australia, and the oil fields of the Middle East. Losing it was simply not an option. In September 1940, the Italians made their move, launching a massive invasion of Egypt with nearly 250,000 soldiers. They advanced about 60 miles before digging in, setting the stage for the first major Allied counterattack. In December, the British launched Operation Compass. What was planned as a 5-day raid turned into a stunning 2-month blitz. Using a much smaller, more mobile force, the British Western Desert Force completely outmaneuvered the Italians, pushing them back 500 miles and capturing over 130,000 prisoners. It was a humiliating defeat for Mussolini and a huge morale boost for the Allies. But the celebration was short-lived. In February 1941, a new player arrived in the desert. His name was Erwin Rommel. Sent by Hitler to bail out his Italian allies, Rommel and his elite Africa Corps were about to change everything. Rommel, soon to be nicknamed the Desert Fox, was a master of surprise and rapid armored warfare. He saw the British forces were overstretched and weakened, as many troops had been redeployed to Greece. Ignoring orders to simply hold the line, Rommel launched a swift counteroffensive in March 1941. He caught the British completely off guard, driving them all the way back to the Egyptian border in a matter of weeks. Only the vital port of Tobruk held out, beginning a legendary 241-day siege. For the rest of 1941, the fighting raged back and forth. Launched 2 major offensives, Operation Brevity and Operation Battle Axe, trying to relieve Tobruk and push Rommel back. Both failed, bloodied by Rommel's brilliant use of anti-tank guns. The Desert War was unlike anything seen before. It was a war of movement, often compared to naval warfare. "The only thing that matters in the desert is the tank," one commander noted. Supply lines were everything. Convoys carrying fuel, water, and ammunition were constantly under attack from the air and sea. The heat was brutal, the flies were relentless, and sand got into everything: engines, guns, and food. By November 1941, the Allies were ready to try again. With a newly reorganized force, now called the 8th Army, they launched Operation Crusader. This was a massive, brutal battle, one of the largest armored clashes of the campaign. After weeks of chaotic fighting, the 8th Army finally managed to push Rommel back, lifting the siege of Tobruk and retaking eastern Libya. It was a hard-won victory, but Rommel's army, though battered, had escaped destruction. The first half of 1942 saw the pendulum swing back in the Axis's favor. After resupplying, Rommel launched another surprise attack in May. He outflanked the main British defensive line, known as the Gazala Line, and in a series of daring maneuvers, inflicted a crushing defeat on the 8th Army. The fall of Tobruk in June was a particularly devastating blow to Allied morale. Winston Churchill called it one of the heaviest blows of the war. Rommel, promoted to Field Marshal, chased the retreating 8th Army deep into Egypt, all the way to a small railway halt called El Alamein, just 60 miles from Alexandria. Here, the Allied line finally held. The first Battle of El Alamein in July 1942 was a brutal stalemate. The new British commander, Claude Auchinleck, managed to halt Rommel's advance, but at a high cost. It was a battle of attrition that neither side could afford. The fate of Egypt and the Suez Canal hung in the balance. It was at this critical moment that a new British commander arrived in the desert, Lieutenant General Bernard Montgomery. Montgomery, or Monty, was the complete opposite of the flamboyant Rommel. He was cautious, meticulous, and methodical. He took command of the 8th Army, and immediately set about boosting morale and building up an overwhelming material advantage. He famously told his officers, "I will not lose." In late August, Rommel tried one last time to break through at the Battle of Alamein, but Monty anticipated his move and repelled the attack, inflicting heavy losses on the Afrika Korps. Now the stage was set for the final act in Egypt. On the night of October 23, 1942, the Second Battle of El Alamein began. Over 1,000 Allied guns opened up in a terrifying artillery barrage. What followed was a 12-day dogfight, a grinding battle of infantry and tanks. Monty's plan, Operation Lightfoot, was to chew through the German and Italian defenses. It was costly and bloody, but the Eighth Army's numerical superiority in tanks, guns, and men was unstoppable. By November 4th, Rommel's army was broken and in full retreat. El Alamein was the decisive turning point of the North African campaign. As Churchill famously said, "Before Alamein, we never had a victory. After Alamein, we never had a defeat." But the end was not yet in sight. Just 4 days after Rommel's defeat at El Alamein, something huge happened thousands of miles to the west. On November 8, 1942, a massive Anglo-American force landed in Morocco and Algeria in Operation Torch. This was America's first major involvement in the war against Germany. The plan was to create a second front, catching the remaining Axis forces in a giant pincer movement between Monty's Eighth Army, advancing from the east, and the new Allied armies pushing from the west. The Axis forces, now trapped, rushed reinforcements into Tunisia to establish a new defensive bridgehead. What followed was a brutal 6-month campaign fought in the mountains and mud of Tunisia. The inexperienced American forces initially suffered a sharp defeat at the hands of veteran German troops at the Kasserine Pass in February 1943. But they learned fast. Under the new leadership of General George S. Patton, the Americans regrouped and pushed forward. By April 1943, the jaws of the pincer were closing. The Eighth Army, having chased Rommel across 1,500 miles of desert, linked up with the American and British forces from Operation Torch. The remaining Axis armies were cornered, with their backs to the sea and the Royal Navy cutting off their escape route. The final Allied offensive, Operation Vulcan, began. After fierce resistance, the Axis defenses collapsed. On May 13, 1943, nearly 250,000 German and Italian soldiers surrendered in Tunisia. It was a surrender on the scale of Stalingrad. The North African campaign was over. The victory was immense. It secured the Mediterranean for Allied shipping, protected the Suez Canal and Middle Eastern oil fields, and served as a crucial launchpad for the invasion of Sicily and Italy. Most importantly, it was a huge morale victory. It proved that the Axis powers could be defeated, and it provided invaluable combat experience, especially for the American Army. The Desert War, a saga of brilliant tactics, incredible endurance, and pivotal battles, had paved the road to victory in Europe. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey through the sands of time. If you found this history as fascinating as we do, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories that shaped our world. Let us know in the comments what piece of history you'd like us to cover next. Until then, stay curious.